All right, we'll keep this short and sweet. So actually, Cleo, what you don't know is that you're on the Let's Rap when you had the Super Soaker was actually a part of where this came from,
Okay.
right? This is it just E segment actually came from the Super Soaker, right? And it was that, right? Because like the weather out here has been crazy hot. You know, you're always talking about, damn, like when it's like a certain type of weather. You remember as kids, you'd be like, man, we gonna do something, water park or get the balloon. Like we just gonna set up an actual just gunfight, right? And so when I saw the Super Soaker thing, that kind of went hand in hand and realized that we even had battles as adults, like when we had, barbecues. Like when it was 4th of July, we was definitely getting busy, right? So is it just E segment this week is about when you were a kid and you had the water gun fights, right? We're gonna keep it with the super soakers, the water balloons, the whole nine. Ain't nobody on here from New York, so when nobody using no damn fire hydrant, right? That's all on TV and shit. Um, the worst feeling while you were wet, was the wet socks, not the wet shirt, not the fact that your pants was wet and your shit was always sticking to you or your drawers was sticking to you. But it was actually the fact that you was wet in your shoes. Now again, depending on who your parents were, you knew that there were certain things that did not allow in the house, which was wet clothes or but none more than wet feet. You're gonna take your shoes off, you're gonna take your socks. But it was something about having a water gun fight, and I don't know how, when, where it happened, but when your damn socks is wet and soggy and shit, it's the worst feeling. And then maybe that's a sneakerhead thing because you always knew that if your socks was damn near wet like that, you almost felt like you fucked the shoe up and you probably couldn't wear it no more, right? You had to leave them hoes on the porch to let them dry out and then not knowing exactly if you want to wear them again. But after that, they just didn't seem right. But something about having soggy ass socks, it just ain't right. So is it just is soggy ass socks worse? Is it the worst than having your drawers and your pants stuck to you when you was having a water gun fight as a kid? And anybody who wants to take it to the adult side, I already know John is already queuing it up. So F you too, and you can go ahead and already have the comments ready.
Uh, I'll go first. Obviously, look, soggy socks are pretty bad. They're pretty bad. I mean, you almost now like when I go to amusement parks, water shoes, sockless, because even in water, like just it's not a comfortable feeling for some reason. And I mean, with the soggy pants. I mean, we've been played football in the worst conditions with compression on. I mean, so every now and then, you get that more often than you get wet socks, and wet socks is just it's pretty bad to deal with.
Yeah, the wet socks might be one of the worst feelings in the world, just in general. Had a instance not too long ago where you step in a puddle that you're not ready for. You're so what is going on in here? There is nothing worse than that, bro. And so I remember specifically whenever we had because sometimes you went out to like the neighborhood park for the super soaker fights. Sometimes someone actually hosted it in like their backyard or their front yard or something like that. We had gotten to the point where we were putting our trunks on. I wasn't wearing socks or shoes. Like we were in the grass or something like that, doing it battlefield style. But yeah, there's nothing worse than wet socks. Especially if you're sloshing around in your shoes. Whether any respectful sneakerhead isn't going to wear any of their dope kicks in a downpour. But we've all been in a situation where you're sloshing around in there and you just really feel like you fucked up. So yeah, I'm totally with you as far as the wet sock. That is just, that's the worst.